when the masculine is strong and the feminine is strong, there's always attraction. It's natural in nature. Hello, men. Thanks for watching. This is video number 2 of 6 dangerously effective marriage-saving secrets. Secret number 2 is pressure, the silent but deadly marriage killer. Watch till the end because I'm going to share 3 things that you can do today before dinner time to take pressure off your wife. Now, if you're a man who's faced with an impending divorce, or your wife has one foot out the door and she's ready to just call it quits on the relationship, I have a special word for you. This particularly is the time to remove all forms of pressure from your wife, 100%. Extreme outcome non-dependence, not giving fucks about what's going on. Just release and let go. Because in this point, she is building up strong walls to try to move away from you. But if she does that and it doesn't hit any kind of resistance, she'll feel drawn back towards you. I have a quick story to tell you to help make sense of this. When I was young, I had a dog who had a very stubborn streak. He would only listen when he felt like it. One time my mom calls me and she's at the neighbor's house at a yard sale. And she's like, "Can you come get your dog? He will not come to me. He's insisting that he stays here." So I went over to the neighbor's house and he wouldn't come to me either. He just sat there with his feet planted in the ground by his new family and refused to leave. I called him and I pulled and I tried to get him to budge and he was just planted where he was. So I turned around and I started running down the driveway, laughing and having a great time. He couldn't contain himself. He came charging after me, afraid he was going to miss out on some good times, and I ran all the way back to my house that way, and he followed. This is what a natural occurrence looks like in nature when we stop trying to force something to be a certain way by pressuring it and simply invite it through attraction and invite it through the release of pressure. Here's what we're dealing with in the marriage. Pressure is like adding elephants upon elephants to a balloon and then expecting the balloon to just expand. But the ways that we are putting pressure on our wife, many times we're totally oblivious to it. We don't realize that we're even doing it to our wife. We may become very confused how she's behaving in the moment and think that we're being helpful in how we're addressing her when we're actually just putting pressure on her. A woman cannot relax into her sensuality if she's under pressure. Now, the relationship must have a leader. There are no countries in the world ever that have had 2 kings. We don't have 2 presidents. There's always one person where the final decision has to rest. And that is how your relationship works. If you've been letting go of different things that making her responsible for them that actually are your responsibility, you have been putting pressure on your wife by not being the leader. There's a metaphor I want to explain quickly to help you grasp the difference between the male brain and the female brain. If you haven't watched my other video yet titled Blow Up With Wife, 3 Mistakes to Avoid, then go watch that video because I go into it even deeper. But just to give you a quick summary, think of like an ice tray. And there's individual spots for each cube. That's how the man brain works. And when events or emotions or situations come up, we put them in different boxes. This is how we feel about our wife. This is how we feel about our boss. This is how we feel about our food. This is how we feel about how we slept last night. This is how we feel about sex. This is how we feel about the news in the world today. They're all in individual cubes. We can feel specific things for each one and kind of keep them separate. For a woman, her brain is like a pot where everything's getting thrown into the pot and it's just accumulating in there. And so over time, she may realize that this pot smells funny and she'll pull one thing out. And that one thing might be, "Why didn't you get the car washed yesterday? It looks horrible. Why didn't you get that done? I told you to go get the car washed." Okay, in that moment, we might be like, "Oh, not a big deal. Don't worry. I'm still going to get to it." But for her, she's not actually addressing the car. It has nothing to do with the car. She just has a pot full of stuff and there's a smell, so she pulled one thing out and threw it out in the wind. This is why guys need to stop trying to address specific things that come out of your wife's mouth. She's not trying to give you the owner's manual to her heart. She is trying to figure out what's going on in there. And to do that, she just has to start throwing things out, and then she can identify them, separate them, and find her truth. If you're a man who thinks these are attacks on you or things that you need to address or resolve with her, you're putting pressure on her to have to think like a man. Just get curious. That's really all she needs. 3 things you can do tonight before dinner to take pressure off your wife. Starting with number 3, take leadership for something around the house and follow through on it. I'm going to balance a checkbook tonight. Hand over the receipts. I got this. Or maybe it's taking leadership for how you're being. Are you moping around the house, hoping she'll get her shit together so it doesn't suck? Take leadership and just have a night that doesn't suck. These are ways of demonstrating your masculinity so that she can feel her femininity. Remember, I bring this up all the time. When the masculine is strong and the feminine is strong, there's always attraction. It's natural in nature. Number 2, when your wife does talk to you tonight, just listen. Do not talk. Imagine that she's just trying to get those things out of her pot so she can identify what's going on. And you really don't need to do anything, but just show your unmovable presence with her and curiosity. Number 1, own something you would like. Like, let's say you would like to sit with your wife tonight. Maybe she's been very distant and prickly lately, and that's not been happening. Tell her, I would like to sit with you for just 5 minutes, and then I'm going to get up and leave. And then go do something you love, by the way. When you frame it like that, where there's a definite endpoint, it doesn't feel like an ongoing pressure for her that, oh, this is going to lead to sex, or this is going to lead to something else, or he wants to talk about something. Like, you've stated what you want. You want to be with the woman you love, and you're going to limit it at 5 minutes and move along. That's a way to release pressure from her. At the most basic level, taking pressure away means taking responsibility for your own emotions, detaching your state of well-being from how she's being. By the way, if you've been waiting to get into my course, The Married Man's Vital Formula to Masculine Confidence, I have good news for you. Registration is open for a new group beginning in November, but you need to register before November 1st. Check the link down in the description for more information. This is a powerful group that masculinity coach Mark Dredska and I co-mentor together. This is a place where men transform themselves, and as a result, you will see your relationships transform. Next week, I'm going to drop a 3rd dangerously effective marriage-saving secret. But remember for this week, remove pressure. It's the silent but deadly marriage killer. Next time, guys.